Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wake Up with Haley, where we rise, shine, and live aligned. I am super excited this morning to welcome my good friend, Andrew Pear. He is one of my favorite people in the world, and he works for Frankel Building Group. Good morning, Andrew. Thank you so
Good
much for
morning.
being here.
Thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it to hang out with you for a few moments and catch up. So thank you.
So excited. I'm
Uh,
so excited. You and I have known each other just a couple of years or 20,
yeah,
something like that,
yeah,
right?
maybe 20 years. Yeah.
Before we jump into our conversation this morning, will you give us just a little bit of background? I know you and I have sold homes together for many years, but tell us just a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your journey in the building world. And then, of course, the amazing company, Frankel Building Group, that you're with now.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. In 2005, I joined a company, David Weekley Homes, and that was my first taste of home building and sales. And it was such a great experience. I had so much fun. The training was exceptional, and that just kind of gave me the foundation to leap into bigger and more dramatic roles. And after spending 12 years in the production world, enjoying lots of success and lots of relationships, and it was really cool. I decided that I need to expand my horizons, and an opportunity came up with the Frankel Building Group, a custom design builder, and it offered me a lot of opportunities to grow in the profession and in home building. And I've been here now just under 6 years. I thoroughly enjoy it. I've worked for some super people and around some crazy good guys. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and thoroughly enjoyed it.
So fun. I know. And it's already been almost 6 years. Time
Yes,
flies when we're having fun, doesn't it?
yes, it does. It does fly.
Goodness.
It's been great. It's ups and downs of real estate. You're learning all the time, and it's been a great learning curve for obvious reasons. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm super excited for our conversation today. I know you are a wealth of wisdom when it comes to building. And, on this show, we tend to hop back and forth from topics, and we always come back to real estate, of course, because it is my roots and my foundation. So I'm excited about our conversation.
Yeah.
Before we jump into it, as you may have seen from other shows, I really like to start with a piece of gratitude and something that's going on good in your world and something you're feeling a lot of gratitude for this morning. So what do you got for us?
I got something that would appear on the surface to be incredibly simple. But yesterday I had the opportunity to hang out. And as you know, I have a brood of children. I have 6 children. I now boast 7 grandchildren. So there was 13 of them all in one place. And
Wow.
anybody who's a parent understands how difficult that is to get them all gathered together. And, I watched them swim. I watched them eat. I watch their conversations, and I just am so grateful for life
Yeah.
and the memories that we're able to create as a family. And yeah, it's a wonderful experience. So yeah,
I
thanks for
love that.
asking.
I love that. And isn't it those small moments in life that make us remember when we go to work and we get involved in our responsibilities financially and business wise, that's really the reason we do it, right? Is to go home and be with the ones we love, especially when it's the children. I know, and I do always laugh at there's always something fun going on at the Pear home with all the
Always. Yeah, it's hard to control them sometimes, but I think sometimes for me personally as a parent, it's all about creating memories, and they come in all different sizes. So I'm just incredibly thankful. I'm thankful for my wife that is the mainstay that holds all this together. So
Yes, she
truly
does.
thankful. I mean, just crazy good. So yeah,
I love it. I love
thank
it. Thank
you.
you for sharing that.
Yeah.
My something good this morning is a little bit of an opposite of that. I just returned from Hawaii from a meditation retreat with Deepak Chopra, and I too left. Of course, Hawaii is an amazingly beautiful place, right? To,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
to have the gift of going there is fantastic within itself. But I spent opposite of being at the pool with the kids, I spent 7 days in almost total silence meditating. Um, but it's
Crazy.
really interesting, right? I think our brains need the both and, right?
Mm,
we need the stimulation and the love and the joy and the craziness.
Yeah.
And we also need the quiet and the solitude for self-reflection and to really dig into those moments of gratitude. So that is my piece of gratitude this morning, is my silence. But I know where to come when I need the stimulation and the
If you
excitement.
need the simulation, right? I'm only disappointed I didn't get an invitation to Hawaii, because there are sometimes
We'll swap one day.
yeah,
I'll come
that I
swim
need
with the
that.
kids.
Yeah,
You go meditate.
yeah.
Oh goodness. All right. Well, let's talk about some home building stuff. It's
Yes.
such a fun topic, and I know in this world of real estate right now, there's a lot of back and forth on, should I buy a resale? Should I build a new home? You know, there's so many questions, and so I really want us to dig in and talk about that this morning. Tell me, as we kick off right now in this market, why do you see homeowners choosing to build their own home? Why is that happening? What are the conversations you're hearing?
Yeah, that's a great question. And look, we've been in real estate for a number of years, and we've seen ups and downs, but we haven't really seen a shift in the requirements of the buyer. And what's happened with recent events in this world is people have realized that their homes, though beautiful, don't perform for them to be in a situation where they have to stay in it for the longest time. So, people are personalizing their homes. And what I see is a lot of specialty items and lifestyle changes that are kind of dramatic.
Yes.
Things like private gyms at home and second kitchens for cooking and 2 offices and golf simulation. All the things that if we, heaven forbid, we ever went into a lockdown again, that people have all these facilities that they really enjoy. And they're more susceptible to the usage of square footage, the flow of the home. And look, it's not one size fits all. Everybody, as you and I know, they have different requirements. There's lots of different influences that go into the buying procedure. Children are important, they make a decision too. So there's some really cool conversations going on. And what brings joy to me is that when people ask me for something that's a little bit off radar, we're able to provide that. So that's why people are choosing new homes more so than the resale.
I agree with you 100%. Because even in the resale market, the ones that we are selling, I know my buyer's agent team, if the buyers are choosing to buy a resale, possibly because of location, or they don't have the timeline to wait for a new build, right? Because there's obviously a runway for that.
Yeah.
They're still wanting to go in and customize it. They're still wanting to knock walls down and add these special spaces. And I know you and I are working on a project right now with the client, and you mentioned the golf simulator, and that is a really important piece for this specific client, right? He was like, no, I have to have it. And the wife was like, okay, fine, let's do it.
Yes.
But it's those spaces. And to your point, the pandemic really made all of us realize the ways that we live in our homes and our spaces and how important they are to really be customized to us. So yeah, I 100% agree. And how great to be able to have the opportunity to build for them, right? And I know you guys at Frankel Building Group, you are, in my opinion, one of the absolute best, right? Because you are so accommodating, and your whole group is so creative, right? They really do help inspire that creativity and think about all the possibilities, which really do matter.
Someone told me recently, Haley, that our creativity drives our income. And, that's what we're about. And if you speak to Kevin and Scott Frankel, they're open to all these suggestions, and it's a lot of fun. And you're surrounded with a team that are doing this on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes, particularly in the suburbs, we need to open people up to new ideas. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Really.
It is so fun. I believe that was Mr. Deepak Chopra that told us.
I do believe that was Mr. Deepak. Yes, that's right.
So talk to me a little bit about, in your opinion, what are the benefits of being involved in the building process from your perspective for the buyer and the consumer? What are the benefits?
Well, look, I mean, it's not about just selling a home and moving in anymore like it's been for years. Look, the Woodlands is the victim of its own success. It's coming to its duration. It's hard to find land positions. It's hard to find a lot of stock in the Woodlands. The choices that we've enjoyed for years and years are being depleted.
Yes.
And, what we're able to do here is offer our clients a land position which sounds simple, but boy, people are really struggling to find lots at the right price here. And what the process is that we've got a structure, which is the foundation is customer service. And the idea is that you will run through a process first with me. I'm the port of call. We sit down, we talk about, is there an engagement? Can we fulfill your objectives? And then if people commit to the design process and the building process, at each stage, they work with an expert. And we've got architects on staff. We've got interior designers on staff, pool designers. We've got our own warranty. We do our own warranty. We don't give it out to a third party. We have a concierge service during the process and after, which is someone working for our client that actually works for Frankel, but is the liaison officer. And then we have the first-class construction team. And you know what's really important is to delete the stress for people and what I call the intangibles. So we have a platform, a CRM platform, that it's the task of our construction managers to report every 48 hours with pictures, with notes through this portal. And you could build a home from anywhere in the world with Frankel. You don't need to be on site, and you certainly don't need to be in the community checking that we've done everything we're supposed to have done. So that's stress less, right? And yes. I like that.
It is. And you explained it so well, because there are so many pieces to the building process, right? From the consumer's perspective. And I know, I don't normally share what I'm personally doing in real estate, but I actually have engaged you all to build a custom home for me. And the process has been absolutely amazing. And this portal, I get so excited because I can log on at 4:30 in the morning and run through and send my notes and do my things. And then I can go on about my day. And that's just one of the very small things, right? But you guys really do make the process, the building process can be one of the most stressful experiences, right, for the buyer consumer, because it's not only, there's so many logistics and pieces going on. We also, as a buyer, get emotionally tied to it. And then we have expectations about timelines that, in the building world, it's much like the design world and all of the other pieces in our world as a whole right now that we don't have a lot of control on because of COVID and, supply chains, et cetera. But you guys do such a good job of the communication and the management behind the scenes to where we as the consumer don't have to. And I know I've seen that many times with clients that have built with you all, but now personally for myself. So it is very seamless. And you guys every department is very hands-on, really managing the process for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a compliment to you is with your clients, you're always incredibly transparent. Right, you're going to tell them, and you've always done that for the 20 years that I've known you. It's always the transparency, and it's always you're talking about the intangibles. Look, we're building a home, but there's a time sequence to selling your existing home, and these are important. Yes. That we are transparent from the very get-go, because that lends itself to us educating the buyers, and you've done a great job of that. And I think that's the transparency and your education is a lot of the reasons that you enjoy a lot of success. So yeah, we're just following your lead, I think, to be fair.
Well, thank you for that. I think early on in my career, I quickly realized what an emotional process buying and selling real estate is for humans, right? And I was very quickly reminded, because I've been in the luxury market for quite a few years, that it doesn't really matter how much you're spending. Your home is one of the largest purchases that you will usually ever make. And so you not only have the emotional experience from it's your nest and it's your home base, right? Which makes us all get a little crazy, myself included when I move, right? Like it just happens. Right. But it also it hits those financial points within your brain and your soul, right? So that financial commitment on top of your nesting, it's all the human elements that tend to bring our anxiety level up. And so I just, as you know, have always really leaned on the side of we need to talk about the good, bad, and the ugly. And we need to talk about the things that could potentially happen and the solutions that we're going to
Yes.
have in place and ready
Yes.
to manage in the event that they do happen.
Yes.
And I think that just helps calm everybody's expectations and nerves to, we're going to get through the process, and we always do. And some of them are smoother than others, but we always get to the end goal. And that's, we're either buying or selling a beautiful home, and we're going to the next phase of life. And you've always been such a great partner in that. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
We've
thanks.
sold lots of homes together over the years.
I think that it bodes really well. I mean, I'm meeting a lot of people, particularly out of towners right now, that are coming in that, look, they don't know Houston. They don't know the difference between Woodlands and Spring and Tomball. And I think, to be fair, being an out of towner myself, is the education on the location is crucial. And I am meeting a lot of people from out of town that are somewhat confused, have landed in Houston to buy something, and quite frankly, have been sold a bill of goods that they don't necessarily want. And that just creates a lot of animosity for the realtor, for the home builder. So we're always incredibly transparent with people. And it's our conversations start off with, let's talk about everything, not just the home. And I think that bodes well. So, yeah.
It does. 100% it does. So speaking of the beginning of the process, talk to me about the creative phase of building a home. And when you guys start the process of the creative phase, how does that really flow through and affect the final decisions?
Well, look, I think it's fair to say that people generally, in my experience, want to know two things. They want to know how much and how long.
Mhm.
And those are questions that 2 years ago we were able to provide them relatively quickly. Unfortunately, with everything that's going on in the market and the commodities, it's taking us a little longer to get to those two answers. So we've got a process in place where you can engage us to do a design in the Woodlands Reserve or Shadow Creek. And the design is working within your parameters. And I'm talking about how many people are in the home, what price that you're budgeting for this home, all the facets that really go into a home search. And we will able to design a home, which means the interaction that you have is not with me after the initial consultation, with a live architect, and it's done in real time. So you're actually working with them. They're moving the home around. They're showing you the drawings. We use the latest and greatest software, which allows people to have 3D views of their home. What does it look like from the front, the back? And then after maybe 2 months, when we've done a number of these meetings and you've taken a visit to our studio, we present you with a price. And we basically say, okay, here's the price for us to build you a home. So we're able to get to the two answers. Unfortunately, it takes a little longer, but it's the commitment from both the clients and the builders. And we found that to be very advantageous for us personally.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And I think too, it also, knowing the process and having done it with clients, but then also myself personally, it really gives us as the buyer and the client as the buyer the opportunity to make decisions ahead of time that we know are going to affect the final way that we're living in the home and the budget, right?
Yeah.
So it was, I know for me, it was, in the beginning, I want a yoga room right next door to my primary closet.
Right.
And I had the opportunity to make those decisions and go, okay, how do I want to use the square footage and the space? And what is it going to cost me in order to get this yoga room space next to my primary closet? And how do I want the walls to look and all of that? And then the square footage, the price per square foot came into the final budget. And that's just a small example. But it really is important, right? Especially from the buyer's perspective, if they're going to go through the process of, whether it's 12, 14, 18 months, right, to build a new home, doing those pieces ahead of time, to your point, and knowing at the very end, this is going to be within the price. And it's not going to be a process where it's like, oh, we forgot to tell you that's an added 50,000, right? Or whatever it might be. And that is not how you guys operate. So the beginning creative phase to the final decisions, I know from experience on both perspectives, you guys really have that process down, and it's really smooth.
Yeah. I mean, we have a plethora of we build homes in the multi-millions, of course. So we have a plethora of things that are available to you.
Yes.
And people ask us, and they're kind of shy about asking us, and we're like, yeah, we've done that, we've done this. So sometimes my responsibility is to put the reins on somebody.
Yes.
I think you know what I'm talking about, is to put the reins on somebody and
I
kind
don't
of
have
say,
any idea what you're talking
I
about.
know, right? So, and just sort of say, I mean, it's also smart for us to look at the resale. Your
Yes.
viewers that are listening today may say, okay, well, how do you sell?
Yes.
If you resell, how do you sell a home with a yoga room? What are the chances of you finding a yoga instructor that wants to live in your home? And the truth is that the home is set up so if you do decide to move on, right, we can convert that room back into the closet. So, and that's our responsibility to not only you but every buyer, is to make sure. A lot of people buy our homes for a return on investment.
Yes.
And they're built to the highest echelons of residential construction.
Yes.
We guard your investment by having an enclave of 55 homes, and that's part of our responsibility to you and every client that comes through.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you do an amazing job of reminding the buyers throughout the process of, okay, if we add this custom feature
Yeah,
in the future for resale value, and I know that's where you and I align quite a bit, because
yeah,
that is also my job as the broker, is, maybe not on my personal home, but on all of the clients' homes, I definitely do it more of, when we go to resell this, can we close the wall and open the door? However, does it convert so that
yeah,
it's
yeah,
multi-purpose for
yeah.
whatever family might be coming next?
And it's not a stepping stone to live in the Woodlands Reserve, but our buyership are always aware and educated that, they may be relocated, they may have to move out. There's
Sure.
always an eye on the development of life.
Sure.
So, they're very well educated, and we help them get more educated, and it's kind of a cool process. It really is a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It is. It is. It's really fun. So talk to me about, I know that you come from the production world of builders, and Frankel Building Group is obviously in the custom world of builders. Talk to me about, why would a buyer choose to go custom?
Well, I think it's because of everything we've said. And the fact is, look, I'm a big component. I've enjoyed many years in the production world. I have nothing but great things to say about the builders that I've worked for. They're world class. But, a lot of people are buying homes that they have to generally fit into.
Right.
And that's kind of arduous. When people buy a resale in the market, they always have this conversation with the realtor, which is, yes, we could buy it, but we're going to have to knock down this, do that. And it becomes like you're fitting into the home.
Right.
And that in itself is kind of feels like you're settling, right?
Right.
Here, it's a blank piece of paper. It's kind of, let's talk about what you really want to create. And what we're able to do is, I want to talk about, for example, I have 6 children. You may not have 6, right? So my lifestyle is different from yours. So what's that flow like? Where do you spend the majority of time? And once we've highlighted that, people are able to see that, yes, they do need a dining room, right? But the dining room could be moved to the back of the house because it can be utilized every day. Just discussions and conversations that are, and people are really surprised a lot by the fact that we're not really working off a standard floor plan. Now, we have thousands of them and we're able to offer them to give you inspiration, but that's the creative side.
It is. It is. And I think, I love how you added in the conversation of how you live in the home, because you're absolutely right. The production builders doing a phenomenal job, right? And they have a ton of great plans, but it is much like the resale market, and you go in and you want plan A or plan B, and you fit into those plans.
Yes.
And of course, the custom building process is more expensive, right? So it usually is the next phase once the kids are a little bit older, right? Most of the buyer profiles for the custom, they've lived in the production homes for a few years now, and they've really kind of vetted out what they want and what they need.
Yeah.
And when they get to the custom market, then they have the opportunity to really create that.
Yeah.
And it is a really fun process. Some of us
Yeah.
have children, some of us have yoga rooms, you know, there's a
Well,
fit for everybody.
you know, the production world is about one size fits all, right?
Yes.
So and it works really well. And you know, the production that we're able to boast in Houston is outrageously good.
Yeah.
Here is people have thought about it. They're walking around their homes. The square footage is not being utilized. And what we're seeing is actually people will come in and say, I need 6,000 because I've got 5,000 already. And then when we start maneuvering the home and playing with the home, we actually end up with 4,900 square feet, but the utilization of square footage is so much superior.
Right.
So one size doesn't fit all for us. It's about, hey, let's talk about you and you personally.
Right.
And, you know, we go into depth. I've just sold a home to a couple that have 5 children. And you know, gathering 5 children for dinner, it sounds easy, right? They're all under the age of 8. So so you got a back stairs, front stairs, breakfast room, you know, and they were super excited because everything they wanted, they got.
Yeah, that's so great. So great. So talk to me a little bit about how does Frankel Building Group differentiate themselves? Give me some of the pieces about you all, and I know we've gone through a lot of the experience, but maybe speak to a little bit of the lead certification and just the brains behind the group, because you know I know Scott and Kevin Frankel very well, and they are both amazing men and led by their father, of course, originally.
Yeah.
But they do such a phenomenal job at the attention to detail and the quality and just their creativity. So give us just a few of those pieces about why you guys are different.
Well, I think it would be remiss of me not to mention that we've just won an award. We've just won Custom Home Builder of the Year for the National Association of Home Builders 2021, arguably the highest accolade within our field. And I think that's the result of many years of hard work, innovation. I work for 2 guys, Kevin and Scott Frankel, that are entrepreneurs, innovative, and you know, they have high principles, and that's how they build their homes. They decided some time ago that they have a responsibility to the environment of which we live. So that's resulted in us building homes to what is called LEED certification. And basically the result of that is everything on our homes in construction changes. I mean, it has to be a certain grass, it has to be certain insulation, it has to be certain wood floors. Everything changes. And it's kind of arduous for us to get through that LEED certification. We've done 250 homes, all with that label on. And the results at the end of the day are, you know, staggering, not only for us. Now, remember, we do our own warranty. So, but it's also the client. So the sustainability of the product. And, you know, you're looking at homes that are 5 and 6 years of age in the Woodlands, for example, and they look a little worn out, right? They look a little bit like they're worse for wear. So we talk about the LEED certification, and we basically wrap it up in a bow and say, you either pay now or you pay later. And I think that's just an illustration of what Scott and Kevin are trying to achieve long-term rather than short-term. And it bodes really well for everybody.
It does. It does. And I know the LEED certification is very in-depth, but the high-level pieces of the LEED certification, can you just, and I don't know that I remember all of them, but just kind of give us that little high level. I know it's, you guys do all the spray foam insulation, correct?
We do the sprays for sprays. Yeah, the list is long, right? I mean, the list is really long.
It is.
So after that list, you may need another week in Hawaii, to be honest. But you know, a couple of things that the stipulations is, you know, we have to use, as I mentioned before, zoysia grass, right? It tends to be really expensive these days, but we're talking about the drought tolerance of the yard and the plants too. We're talking about the fact that as a LEED certificated builder, you cannot use what we call MDF, which is a composite material. It has to be real wood within the home. Certain stipulations on appliances, for example. So all our homes will come with a Sub-Zero or Wolf um, as a standard feature. Now, we're okay to change that for people, but what they change it to has to be within that LEED certification.
Yeah.
And, you know, Brian Adams, our VP of operations, and the team, the construction team, do a really good job of keeping this home on track, because there's also an element of inspections that come from a third party. So unless you get the green light to go, right, you're going to get held up. So, and those environmental issues are forever changing. And, you know, the window configuration, it has to be a certain level of window. And a lot of people don't actually look at the windows, but there's a huge vast of different quality in the window.
Yes.
So, you know, and Brian and his team go through this LEED certification with all our buyers to educate them on, this is why we're doing what we're doing. And here's the result of why we're doing it. And the energy efficiency of the home, the environment of the home, all plays into the hand of the buyer.
Yeah.
Even though some may assume that we're more expensive from the beginning, the long-term cost and the sustainability outweighs everything.
100% it does.
Yeah.
And thank you for that. I know the list is really long, but I remember years ago when I met Frankel Building Group and I
Yeah.
started selling your properties, when I got the rundown and the true understanding of what the LEED certification actually meant,
Yeah.
I was blown away.
Yeah.
And, you know, to your point, we've sold for the production builders, and many of them have very high quality standards from a production
Yes.
builder standpoint. But the LEED certification takes it to a whole other level.
Yes.
And I know that Scott and Kevin have done such an amazing job of really holding the guidelines to keep that certification and the quality of their homes. You
Yes.
can tell when you walk in the door of even a Frankel Building Group home that might be several years old, the feeling of solid quality construction,
Yeah.
the windows, the doors, you know, after a while in the homes that aren't of those qualities, you can tell, right? You walk in and the wall might shimmy just a little bit when you close the garage door hard and things like that, right? Like little things that, you know, consumers might notice. But in the Frankel homes, it absolutely is a very different experience. So
I think the best way to explain that is, look, we build homes, as you well know, closer to 20 million, right?
Yeah.
Staggering, beautiful. And we don't change our product material to build a $2 million home.
Right.
It's the same standards. We don't dilute our product. Everything is the same window configuration, the sheetrock, the construction methods, nothing changes, which is why we're able to boast 250 LEED certified homes.
Right.
You know, there is no differential between a home that's 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, or 5 million. They're all built to the same level of quality.
Right. Yeah. Right. No, it's amazing. And I know that you all have a couple of communities up here. You've got Shadow Creek and you've got the Woodlands Reserve, but you also have a very large build on your lot program. You do full custom. Just speak to that a little bit so that if anyone is watching, they understand how they can engage with you.
Yeah, it's you know, we have three arms of our business. We have our Palladium series, which is really downtown, though we are moving out to the suburbs with that, as you well know. We have our two communities of Shadow Creek and the Woodlands Reserve, and we're boasting right now about 49 lots. So they're all ours. We're going to build on them. We're committed to building on all of those. And then we have Build FBG, which is a series designed for downtown, which are, you know, a lot of smaller homes or smaller lots. So we have three arms of our business. What tends to happen is that people will be, in fact, we get lots of calls. Will we build here? Will we build there? And we'll always entertain the opportunity to build elsewhere. But in truth, because of what we build and how we build it, it's not always very practical for someone to build one of our homes in other subdivisions, because we're actually going to make you the most expensive.
Right.
And, you know, there aren't many realtors I know that will allow their buyers to do that. But we get asked all the time. And, you know, there are some projects that that we'll look at, we'll evaluate, and we'll decide that it's not practical. And you also have to remember that the guys that work on the Frankel Homes only work on the Frankel Homes.
Right.
So you've got to literally pick these crews up and put them in an isolated arena. And there's a cost for that, especially with gas prices the way they are, especially these guys having the time to travel.
Sure.
So it takes a certain buyer to understand the price implications of doing an exercise like that. But we're always happy to have that conversation. And I think a lot of people are thankful they can have that conversation, because if they do go to another builder, we've educated them and their realtor on what to look for when choosing a home builder.
Right. And I think one of the qualities that I really appreciate about you and the group is you are also very transparent. If this move of building this home in this particular neighborhood where you happen to own a lot, Mr. Buyer, isn't really going to serve you best, we're not going to do it.
Right.
And there's thousands of builders around, right? And a lot of times I know from being on my end of the industry that you don't always get that transparency, right? For the benefit of the buyer. And you guys are very much transparent and looking out for the protection of the client first and foremost before you agree to take on a project.
Yeah.
So
I think, some people are operating in 2019, and unfortunately that's people walk in here and they ask me for a price because they want to know those two things. And I'm apt to say, look, I don't know. I need to do some work. And they get disgruntled by the fact that they've just left another builder and the builder said $250 a square foot. And, $250, they get their calculator out, off they go. But nobody, and this is what the consumer needs to understand, is nobody can predict what the price is going to be when that lumber hits. And I explain to people that we don't store our lumber.
Right.
We have a window. It's a 14-day window. So case in point, you're working with us. We're not going to order your lumber for a couple more months.
Right.
We don't know what that lumber cost is going to be. And I think it's unfair and unprofessional to quote a price so early on in the process when you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. And if you tell someone it's $250 and it ends up being $251, people will get
sure. And I think to your point, that's really how you wrap up the whole experience, right? You guys do such a good job of setting the right expectations for the whole experience, all the way from design to close, and just being very transparent. And I know I am grateful for that because you guys do such a good job at it. And the end product is breathtaking and amazing. So I'm super excited for the clients I have building with you currently, as well as myself. We're going to have some fun building some new homes this year. We're
super excited to have you in the neighborhood. It's going to be quite a ride. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. And, our team are super excited. And, I'm going to be with anticipation for you to see that home when it's finished, because it's something incredible. The design work we've done is amazing. The elements that you've added to it are tremendous. So I'm excited. I always get excited to see the finished product. So
I know, me too. Thank you so much for being on, Andrew. I love our little highlights. We don't have much time to dig into all things in the building world, but what you shared today is really valuable. So I'm super grateful for you and for our friendship over the years. So thank you for being one of my people in the industry. Tell everybody before we jump off, where can they find you and Frankel Building Group? Will you just give them your website, social handles, anything like that you'd like to share for them to connect?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity of sharing a few moments with you. Always good to catch up, of course. The best port of call for us is frankelbuildinggroup.com. We have lots of social media handles, but that's probably the best to start the conversation. And that displays our portfolio of product and our gallery, so you get a good feel for who we are. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much, my friends.
Thank you.
I will see you soon. And thank you everybody for joining us. Our next show will be on July 5th. So we look forward to seeing you then live with Wake Up with Haley, and enjoy this amazing day. And don't forget to rise, shine, and live aligned. Thank you for being here.